Why did you love Darwin's house so much?
Because I admire Darwin so much. He's such a remarkable human being and scientist. And his life was every day based on waking up, being a kind of fun father who liked to play around with his kids, but also every day was experimenting. Every day was an experiment and thinking logically. There's this worm block, I think it's called, where for 29 years he was trying to figure whether earthworms affect basically how soil and things build up and get destroyed. And so over 29 years he measured the position of this rock to see how earthworms would take soil and put it up on the rock, and the rock would go down. And I mean, the kind of things you wouldn't think about doing, everything was fascinating for him. Every day was fascinating. These insect-eating plants and even his children in some ways became expressed, not in the same sense that B.F. Skinner's might have, but he was just a consummate, curious human being, and also had one of the most important ideas in all of science. So for me, it was amazing to be there and be in the study where he wrote The Origin of Species, partly because I'm taking a group to the Galapagos in January, and I just read The Voyage of the Beagle. I just wrote a piece on how amazing, I mean, he was not just a great scientist, but what a great writer. I mean, I thought it'd be boring sort of discussions of things, and it's gripping. It's an adventure story. And he risked his life as a young man. It's amazing to read The Voyage of the Beagle, because you see all of the adventures he had that led him, of course, eventually to develop the natural selection and evolution. But the adventures he had on the way are quite amazing, and his reflections are fascinating. So I just wrote a piece on claiming that he was the greatest scientist writer. And it was based on the fact that years ago, I don't think, as I've told you before, hierarchically, generally, but I was forced once to ask who's bigger, better, more important scientist, Galileo or Einstein. And I think Darwin or Einstein. And I said Darwin. Because Einstein, of course, is a hero, but Einstein was a theorist. Darwin developed the most important theory in biology, but was a consummate experimentalist at the same time. He spent 8 years of his life, and you see this in the house, cataloging every kind of barnacle that exists in the world. And I heard when I was in the house that one of his kids said to another kid, "What kind of barnacles do your father study?" Because that for him, all fathers study barnacles. But evolution was based as much on incredibly careful observations as well as brilliant ideas. And so that made him the prototypical scientist, because he was an observer, an experimentalist, and a theorist. And that's why I put him above Einstein.
And Feynman always admired that as well, right? He said you have to be able to do the work to prove it.
Yeah, he once told me, the way he put it, as I remember, and who knows if my memory is accurate, he who can do nothing knows nothing. But what he said on his blackboard after he died, the words were written. There were a bunch of things on his blackboard. One was, "If you can't build it, you don't understand it." So he was a theorist, but he was in touch with experiment, and often demonstrated when experimenters. There are a few notable cases where experimenters have made claims based on experiments, and he looked at it and he said, "No, you're jumping conclusions because you want to know. In fact, it's a bolt that's in your experiment here that's giving you this effect that you're claiming is the discovery of a new particle."
Right. Okay.
He was great. It was because he's a prototypical skeptic. And of course, the Challenger disasters, when the world saw that, when they were trying to figure out what was the disaster, and he was a consummate showman. And he took this O-ring. People who are young don't remember this, and put it in ice water on TV, and showed how it wasn't flexible any longer. That was the O-ring was responsible for the Challenger disaster.
He was involved in that.
He was on the commission. How did he find out about it? He went and talked to the engineers. He didn't read reports. He went and talked to them, and he loved that. He went and talked to them and tried to figure out what the problem was. And and the way he demonstrated it was all much more show, like Perry Mason or Hercule Poirot, but it was still fun.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, it's Brian Rose, founder of the DeFi Academy. I've told you my 4-week crypto bootcamp is amazing, but don't take my word for it. This is what my students are saying.
The DeFi Academy was an amazing experience for me. It took me totally out of my comfort zone.
In this course, I was challenged, I was held accountable, and pushed to do things that honestly weren't always easy.
It's been phenomenal, and I can't believe we're already up on our 4 weeks. It has flown by.
Going through this DeFi accelerator by far was one of the best courses I've taken.
You do this course, you really get into the nitty-gritty of the activities that will make you comfortable with decentralized finance.
Thank you so much to Brian and everyone at London Real and the DeFi Academy for even putting together an amazing course like this.
Anybody else that wants to do it, please sign up. It is well worth the money.